Hey Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Hey John, good to see you.
How's life back in Ireland again?
It's grand, it's good to see all the family and friends, but I think the novelty's worn off. Though, especially, I think the weather's that's it done for another year as well.
Yeah, I was only just talking to a potential candidate there before we jumped on this call, and he kept looking out the window at the rain, going, "You sure I have to wait until October?" And I was like, "Unfortunately, yes."
Yeah, but little do they know, like it flies in, like it
Yeah,
really
it does.
does.
Yeah.
When you start the process.
So remind me, Ryan, when did you first go work in the States?
2017.
Well,
So yeah,
a bit of a veteran.
yep. So been there, done that, wore the t-shirt. Would like to wear it again.
And what made you decide to go the first time around?
Well, my dad lives in Florida, so I'd always been over there here and there just for, holiday.
Yeah.
And then when I was out there, I'd actually kind of met someone and they were on the program and I'm like, you what? They pay for your visa, they pay for your flight. And it was one of them where you think it's too good to be true, but once you're actually speaking to someone who's on the program and they're living it, you're kind of like, okay, like I'll just sign up, see how
Yeah.
we go. And then that was it. And best thing ever done.
And what were you doing before you went to Florida for the first time? Like, were you working? Were you just finished college, school?
So yeah, I was working just within customer service. So yeah, and I kind of was, I was in a job that I knew I didn't want to be in the rest of my life. And
Yep.
so when it came up about going to Florida, I was weighing up the pros and cons, and it was a no brainer.
And obviously, for you, you're one of the lucky ones who managed to secure a place in the golf team.
Yeah,
So outdoor in the sunshine.
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always envious of the ones who get the golf roles as opposed to the food and beverage roles.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, you know, in golf, like you can be in, especially Boca West. So I work there, obviously. So four golf courses. So you can
Yeah,
either work inside in golf or outside. I preferred to be outside, but it's just because I mean the weather was just you can't complain about that.
yeah.
You never get sick of it every day. So
So four 18-hole golf courses is a busy operation.
yeah,
The golf
so
team.
huge, and it's good because like there's a lot of us, but we're always busy. There's not
Yeah.
no one's ever really sitting around because it's always go go go, which is
Totally.
good because you're not sitting there, looking at the clock.
Yeah.
When am I getting out of here?
Yeah.
So it's
The,
good
the,
that
the
way.
day definitely goes by quicker.
Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
So, what's the day in the life, like part of a golf team, like in a five-star country club over in Florida?
So, in the mornings, so we'll get picked up, let's say around 6:15. So you'll obviously transportation will be there, bring it to the club, sign in. And then in the morning, so it depends what department you're in. So you could either work in the bag room or you could be a starter, a ranger, you could work on the driving range. So what will happen is you'll have your manager. So they'll delegate the teams for the day. So you could have four starters on each course. You'll have four rangers surveying each course, making sure that the play is up to speed, and then you'll have guys working on the driving range. And then also like people speak to each other throughout the day. Just you cover my lunch, I'll cover yours. Hey, how's it going? And we'll have radios.
Yep.
So if one of us is in trouble, if one of us needs someone, we'll just call each other, and it's kind of good
Which
from there.
which is the best of the roles?
I like the driving range because there's always so much to do.
Yeah.
Like you could be helping the members, you could be filling the balls, you could be cleaning something, you could be in the shop helping. There's always a lot to do.
I
So
never
I
fancied
I,
the
I enjoyed that.
I never fancied the ranger role, having to go up and tell somebody to pick things up there and speed it up a little bit. It's like, really?
That was my first job in 2017. I think they see me and they were like, "Yeah, he's no problem going up and tell someone to
Yeah.
shift it." Yeah, it's it, and with the members because they're paid to be, they're members, so it's their club. So
Yeah.
you gotta be nice, but you gotta be stern.
And looking to head back out again for, is it season number five at this stage?
Yeah,
Hmm?
yes, sir. So very much looking forward to getting back out there.
Excellent. And you hadn't worked at all in the hospitality industry before you went over.
No, never. I mean, I worked in a bar when, I was like 18, 19 for about 2 years, but uh, never really worked in a hotel or anything like that.
Yeah.
So,
And had you played
going to,
golf?
yeah, play golf. So
Yeah.
I'd always had that team aspect, and obviously, going to work in golf department over there, I mean, the conditions are, it's ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
but it was good. It was enjoyable. Like,
Yeah. Excellent. So what was the first, like, can you, maybe you can't even remember back that far, but when you went out for your first season, like, what was the initial thoughts when you finally managed to get finished with embassies and you're finally on that plane heading over the first time and you land in Florida?
I think it was more so really it's October already, because when you think about it, you got to go through. You got your interviews, and you got your medical and your visa, your police clearance, and all these different things, and the embassy. And if you think about it in one go, I'm never going to get this done.
Yeah.
But once you get it done, it's like, whew, and you're sitting in the airport with people who are in the same position as you, and you're sitting there and you're like, can you believe we're sitting here? We're
Yeah.
ready to we're ready to go, and you're having a pint or a coffee, um and then once you get over there and you arrive, and there's someone waiting for you to pick you up, which is nice. They'll bring you to your apartments, which is great. And then you obviously get to meet people who you're going to be living with, working with.
That must have been back in the days when my predecessor, Elaine Blood, used to be at the airport and she'd be making sure everyone understood now, no drinking before you get on the plane. And I would be standing behind her laughing, going, really? They're not going to have a pint or two and celebrate the fact they're finally going to
No,
Florida?
I remember like that was my first season going, yeah. And she gave me a big hug, and she was like, "Oh, let me know when you get out there." And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we went through security and clearance, and I got my first Guinness. So I was
Yeah.
there.
We definitely have a lot to thank Elaine for here in Ireland and the UK for building this program back in the early days.
Yeah,
And
she
she
was
did a
brilliant.
fabulous job of it. So how many flew over with you that first year?
I think around eight to 10 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of us but one was it was our first seasons. So there
Yeah.
was one returner, and it was kind of funny because we were just kind of bombarding him with questions, like, what about this and how's this work, and he was like, look, it's just wait till you get over there, and you bed in very quickly, you really really do, because it when you're going over there, you don't really know what to expect, but you got to think that everyone else is in the same boat as you,
Yeah.
so it's pretty cool to become friends with people that you would never have thought that you'd become friends with, and you meet people from all over the world, um, different cultures, different way of life, but you just usually there, as you almost
And
become a
I did,
family in a way.
yeah, I mean, and you've played a role now, even for me, a couple of times of the returner to where you are there for the new people going on and to be able to sort of ask all those questions. And I mean, a lot of them seem like silly questions, but they're the same questions I'm sure you had when you went over for your first season. And then I think it's fab. I think at times maybe people don't realize like a lot of these country clubs have been doing this for 20, maybe 20 plus years. So they sort of have a great system in place to make sure you really do feel, I suppose, a very warm and welcome when you land. They take you through a nice process to get you settled in, to get you set up with bank accounts, with social securities, with all the bits and pieces you need to sort of be able to then deliver when you come into the door to work. And definitely when Elaine and myself were building a program over the years, it was always the same sort of thought process was, well, if we can guide people through a process each step of the way, then at least they don't have to try and figure out what to do. They just need to make sure they engage with us and reply back to us when we're looking for info. And then we can always keep them one step ahead of where they are. And I think sometimes for me, it's probably the one thing I wish people would probably just be a little bit better at in all areas is just replying to a simple email or a message and letting somebody know maybe I'm in, maybe I'm out, or I'll get that in a couple of days. Because the amount of people who come back to us a couple of weeks after we've finished out interviews and now they're, oh my God, I was just so busy doing this and I just forgot about it. And it's like, but now all the places are gone and you have to wait till next year.
I know, and I think with BE, I feel like for me it was very common that it's a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
It was because it's very easy to get stressed out about this. You're, oh my God, will I get over there? And
Yeah.
but you know you and Elaine, explained it very, very nicely. Where it's okay, we'll do this, then we'll move on to this. Once you do that, then we'll do this, and you would always kind of let us know and just communicating, which I feel like, especially your first season, because you're getting into the unknown. It's very, it's very common in a way, because you can get very stressed out about stuff like this. But that's what I found anyway, which was nice.
Yeah, I think the communication is probably, but I think communication is key to everything really, to anything you're going to do that's you're going to be successful in life. Like I was only just speaking with a GM of a luxury four-star hotel in Ireland there before lunch, and we were just chatting back and forth about stuff. And he said, like, really, he said all of our problems and all of our successes come down to how good or bad are we at actually communicating with our people, be it our guests or our suppliers or our team, as to what's actually happening. He said, and when we drop the ball on something, it's because we haven't communicated what it is we needed or what it is that's going on. Um,
Hmm.
and definitely, I always feel the communication from the clubs, even when you land over there, is always crystal clear, and it's always sort of, I suppose, followed through and delivered on.
Yeah, because just even remember when I was at Boca West, so when we would land, so we would have our housing officer. She would be, she'd be there, pick us up. She'd bring us to our apartments. In fact, she would actually bring us to Publix, which is like an
Yeah.
Asda or a Tesco, let's say, over here, just to get some things maybe, before the apartment. Then she would say, okay, we're gonna, we'll pick you up and bring us to the club for orientation. And really, like, that's in the next day or so. She always gives us like a day or two to get settled. You kind of get your bearings and stuff. You would get an email from HR to say, okay, this is what we're going to be doing orientation. You can get your social security sorted, your bank, everything. And once you get the orientation at the club itself, everyone's just very welcome. They're just ask any questions. We're here. No question is a bad question. And it's just very common in a sense. It's going into something just the unknown. I thought just the communication of everyone was excellent because, like you said, if you don't have the communication, you don't have nothing. Especially when you work at a country club, you need to communicate with your colleagues because it's it gets busy. It's very,
I was
very
just about to
busy.
say it's sort of it's funny. It carries all the way through, I think, to all of the success or failures, even for the people who spend 8 months for a couple of years over there. It's like if you're not, as you said, if you're not communicating with your teammates, you're not going to be able to deliver that level of a service that these members are expecting. If you're not communicating with your teammates, you're not going to have a great social environment for when you're out socializing or when you're living with these people at the end of the day's work as well. So it's sort of, yeah, communication seems to be key to you having an enjoyable experience, and being able to work as part of a team and ultimately being able to secure those opportunities then to head up to the northern clubs for that summer season.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And I feel like, especially my first season, it's very good to to bounce things off returners. Don't be afraid to ask something. Because at the end of the day, that returner was in the same position as you were, and obviously I find myself in that position myself where,
Yep.
um, in my last season there, that people were asking me questions, and I never shut down anyone because I used to ask the same questions.
Yeah.
So I think it's very, very good.
Well, and it's funny, like, so we'd often be looking as well at, okay, what can we learn from how the country clubs operate for the Irish market here at home? And like, it's interesting how, if you look at how heavily both the country clubs and then us as their agents will rely on the expertise of returners, and people like yourself who are maybe going back for their second or third or fourth season at a club. We lean quite heavily on you guys to be the mentors for the younger people who are coming through who've never maybe had the experience before. But I always talk to returners, and it's a case of at times I'll sort of say but do you ever get fed up of answering all the questions after questions after questions? Because I know sometimes I'm like, holy smokes, how many times can I answer this question? And they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
but if it helps the person who's coming over for their first experience be a better team member, then ask me all the questions you want, because the better team we have, the easier my job's going to be.
Yeah, I feel like I never get tired of it because I was asking those same questions, and it is right because once they get over there and they have a kind of a nous of okay what they expect, then they settle in a lot quicker because if they're going around just thinking and not really sure and hesitant on asking people questions, then they're going to struggle. because it's a fast-paced environment. So you can't sit still. You know, mistakes can happen very easily.
Yeah.
So it's very good. And I would even go out of my way sometimes to like, hey, do you need some help? Do you need to do this? And you can see some people early on maybe struggling. Obviously different personalities, but I just feel it's very beneficial as a returner that I'm only going to help. You know, I'm only going to help these people.
And did you ever notice with the country clubs, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, the people who get the opportunity for promotion into captain roles are the people who've been great returners, mentoring the younger people and the new people coming over. And it's almost like the clubs watch who the returners are to see how are they at managing that first little bit of responsibility as just being, say, a mentor for the person who's coming for the first experience. And if they really excel there, they start going, this person could be a captain maybe at the end of the season or for next season. And I think it's a great way of identifying possible supervisors without putting any real stress or pressure on them that they're going to be a supervisor.
Yeah, I mean, I see it happen every year, because you see these people, they come in their first seasons, they excel, they go up north, then they come back down. And then what happens is in their second season, they're helping people who are coming into their first season. Management sees that. Then next thing they're getting asked, okay, well, we think that you should be a supervisor. We think that you're going to be a captain, and it just kind of goes on from
Yeah.
there. For myself within golf, obviously I've been there 4 seasons. So for me in my last season, I got promoted to golf operations supervisor for outside services
Yeah.
because a lot of people were new, and my job was to basically say, hey, let's get in here as a team, delegate everyone together. And it was good in a way because like they were all in the unknown and they're outside there, and management can't do everything. And so
Yeah.
that's why they look to returners and rely on us. So to take that lead.
So let me ask you this question then. What was your what would your sort of advice be, I suppose, for anyone who is potentially looking at it, is trying to think about whether is this the right move or the wrong move for them, that you now sort of know 4 years or 4 seasons under your belt?
I think for me, weigh up the pros and cons. So well, the way I looked at it was what have you got to lose? So if you write it down a list, all these different things. Okay, well, yes, I'm going to be leaving my friends and family, but look at the potential of where I could actually go and what could happen, because you never know what's going to happen until you do it. And so for me, it's the best thing that I ever done because of the experience that I had, the people I met. I mean, I have friends for life now from all over Ireland, all over South Africa, Portugal, Italy, a lot of American friends. You find a different way of life, culture. I mean, you definitely find out a lot more about yourself. That's what I found in a good way, definitely in a good way, because you can, when you're stuck at home, you're at home, you don't know anything else other than it. But when you go out there and you broaden your horizons, um, it's a wonderful thing. And like you go out there and yes, I'm only going to go for 8 months. By Christmas, you're thinking about going up to New York or going up to Boston or
Yeah.
Chicago, and then the excitement kicks in, and you have other people around you, and you have people you live with that you're going to be staying with up in New York that you didn't even know 3 months ago. And so it's things like that. It's like, yes, it may be a risk, but listen to people who have done it before and are continuing to do it. Um, so yeah, I think it's one of the best things that you could do for yourself personally, but also your career as well.
And you went up to, I'm guessing, a New York club?
Yeah, so my first season, I went up to New York, so was up in Long Island, Glen Oaks. So that was amazing. Yeah, first time ever in New York, so it's pretty cool. Just half hour from the city, which is nice.
Very good. And did you return back to Glen Oaks or did you go to a different club a second time around, or did you do the summer season the next time?
I went to a different club the next time, so yeah, so I secured a job up in Michigan. And
Yeah.
again, going to Michigan was a wee bit the unknown. I didn't know anyone who was at the club, but once I got up there, it was great.
So, go on.
Yeah, so just when you get up there, it's because especially Michigan, because no one ever really goes to Michigan. But when I was up there, I was like, Geez, this is beautiful, especially in the summer. You don't want to go up there in the winter. It's
Yeah.
freezing cold, snowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, one that I definitely loved.
I did my first J1 in Chicago and ended up the same company had an operation up in Michigan, so I went up like that for 2 or 3 days summertime, and I was like, yeah, it's sort of great. And the same owners were like, you don't want to see it in the winter, and I was like, no, Chicago's bad enough in the winter. I don't need to be up in Michigan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once I got the October time Michigan, I was like, all right, thank God, and come down to Florida here shortly.
Well, it's easy to see how these country clubs exist. Like, if I was as wealthy as these members are, I wouldn't be spending my 3 or 4 or 5 months up in Chicago or New York or Boston either. I'd be down to Florida for the sun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Let me ask you this question then, for some of the people who are potentially looking at it as well. Like, how would you rate the work? Like, I think some people sometimes they think this is amazing, it's great, like it's too good to be true. They get over that part, then they're all excited about the fact they're going to the States, and sometimes they forget, first and foremost, you're going over for a job, and then you're going to have the social side of it. You're going to get to go and explore and make new friends, get new experiences. But like, how does the work stack up, in your opinion?
I mean, you are going out there for a job. You're not going out there to party. I mean that, you know, get that out of your head first for a second, because like it is a job, and you're gonna, yes, it's 40 hour work contract, but you're gonna be working a lot more than that. So don't go out there and think, oh, I have to work more than this, because it's not for you. You're gonna be working, especially November, December time around Christmas is very, very busy, and you're only working 6, 7 days a week. And don't think that, days off and stuff, like you're going to be doing this and doing that. Like everyone else is in the same boat. But when you do get through that busy period, you're going to have days off, and you're going to be able to go and, go to the Bahamas or go down to the Keys, or just hang out with people.
Yeah.
So it's very intense, but it's also enjoyable when you come through that, because you get a lot of overtime. Obviously, you get paid time and a half for overtime, which is great over there. So it's well all worth it, And everyone else is in the same boat. You're not on your own in this. So everyone kind of, especially in those busy periods, everyone comes together, which I find is very good.
And it's like I've from all the various people we've spoken to over the years, it almost seems like the people who go over there without any preconceived ideas of all of these things they're going to do on their bucket list, and more go over there understanding I'm going over with a team, we're going to be working hard, and we're going to go and socialize together. They seem to be the ones who have the best experience, because they're not, I suppose, they're not focused on I have to go to see the Grand Canyon, or I have to go to Vegas, or I have to go to New York. They're more like, I'm going to go over and work with a new bunch of people and make some great friends for life out of it. And oh, we went to the Keys, oh, we went to the Bahamas, or oh, we went to Vegas, or we did whatever. But it's more the experience of meeting and, I suppose, having new friends for life than it was ticking off all these bucket list items they thought they were going to Florida or going to the States to do.
Yeah, I think for me, you go over with an open mind. Don't go in there, I got to do this, and because you're not going to enjoy it. Go over with open mind. You're going to meet so many friends, and again, for me, like friends for life.
Yeah.
And what happens is you're going to go and do these other things that you've never thought about doing. I mean, for me, I remember I was in New York, I went to the Rockefeller, and even just walking around Times Square, things like that, that it's going to be more enjoyable because you're doing it with friends that you met through it in the same
Yeah.
position as you. And then you can come back and, oh, I remember I did this and I did that, and gee, I never thought I would have done that. So just go with it. Don't have any conceit ideas and get bogged down on things. Just work hard, and everything else will come with it.
And so you're home now since when?
March.
March. So heading back over in October, first or second week of October, probably. What's the
Yes.
main draw to bring you back for fifth, sixth season?
Yes. So I think the main draw for me is just the experience of it, the life of working in a country club. And yes, I'm saying it is very, very busy, but it's good. I enjoy that because everyone there is together, and that the friends that I've met, the country club life, the members, the members are, if they see you work hard, like they'll take care of you. Do you know what? It's a lot different from Ireland. They're very caring because we see them every day. They see us every day. We build that rapport with the members. It's not just you'll see a customer, and then you may not see them again.
Yeah.
We cater to these members every day, day in, day out, and they see the hard work that we do, and they're very rewarding to us. So I think for me is the experience of going over there, the opportunities that may arise, and then especially get to go up north. Yeah, so
So
I've
potentially develop your career while you're over there this time around?
yeah, I think it's more so your first season, you go and see what it's like. But for me, now it's okay. I want to, because my last season I was a manager for outside services, so that's progression for me,
Yep.
and now I want to keep progressing. So career progression and see where that takes me.
Maybe even work towards that elusive green card sponsorship.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know we've another few that are going through the process at the moment. So I think they're on fifth seasons as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's great to see that that is a potential for people further down the road. Like I suppose I know a lot of people who've done the J1s. They've worked for different pub groups and stuff in the States or different hotels in the States, and they really get that taste of where it's like this is the hospitality industry I want to work in, and not the hospitality industry I was used to back at home. But then it's that challenge of trying to find a way of getting sponsorship to be able to get a green card and stay there. And
Hmm.
I think it's amazing that here's a program that not only allows you to dip your toe in the water for 8 months and see whether this hospitality industry, which is the country club industry, which is completely different to the hotel industry or the cruise line industry or the bar and restaurant industry, maybe is the sort of a vehicle for you to go and really grow and develop a career in and lead towards a green card and lead towards, being able to stay and reside in America if you so choose to. And sometimes, I wish the people who left after 2 or 3 weeks because they got into an argument with a teammate or because they felt a little bit homesick didn't sort of push through and at least finish off their initial 8 months and then go, this isn't for me, or holy smokes, it is. Because a lot of the people who've pushed through would often say to us, I ended up doing 3 or 4 seasons, but I almost came home after 3 weeks.
Yeah, I've had experience with a couple of friends like that. Throughout the season they were going to give up and go home, but they pushed through it, and next thing they were going up north, coming back to Florida, going up. So you have to accept that you're going to get homesick. Yeah, that's the reality. But um, again, everyone else is, and I feel like communicate that to your housemates, to your teammates, because some of them will be in the same boat, and it's nice to kind of bounce off each other, because that's very helpful to kind of say,
Yeah.
hey, come on, like we're in this together.
And even at times communicated with HR. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
we stay in constant contact with the HR managers over the course of the year, and like it's amazing how many times between us we'll be back channeling to say, have you heard Ryan is maybe thinking of coming home? He's getting a little bit homesick, or there's something going on. We're not sure, and all of a sudden we're able to get on and have a phone call with somebody and get to the bottom of what's potentially an issue. And next thing, everyone's able to help resolve the issue. I think, and it's funny, it sort of goes back to what we said earlier, like communication, communication, communication. Like it's sort of integral, I think, to everything we do these days. And I think sometimes we forget it's easy to just open up your mouth and speak to somebody or say no thanks or yes or tell somebody what you're thinking, as opposed to thinking you have to keep it bottled up inside and then it becomes a massive problem.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
What are some of the things I suppose you've seen over there or you've experienced that would make you recommend to other people that this is, something good to look at? And what's some of the stuff you've seen or you've noticed over there to where you would say, well, like just so you're aware of the fact, like this is, I suppose the good, the bad, and the ugly of potentially going over to work in the States for 8 months.
I mean, the good, like I probably said before in this call, I mean, just the experience of it, go in there with open mind. I think that the places you can go, the people that you get to meet, friends for life, you progress yourself as, like I says, in a career wise, where you're going to be working 6, 7 days a week, and so that brings a lot out of yourself going forward for your own career. I feel like the opportunity to go up north, to build to build a rapport with members. You get to know members on a personal level, which is very nice.
Yep.
You go in there in the mornings and you maybe having a bad day, and a member will come up, they say, "Hey, what's going on with you?" And it's nice, because
Yeah.
they understand, like because they care about you, because they see how hard you work.
Yeah.
So I feel that that's very, very rewarding. And as I said, like being a returner, those are some of the things why I would go back. In Florida, it's the lifestyle is beautiful, and the country club life is a lot different from the hotel life in Ireland. It's just a lot more. You get a lot more satisfaction out of it from the work that you put in. From the members and the staff themselves.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot more opportunity to really be able to deliver that exceptional level of guest service, and to really be able to sort of, I suppose, create a great experience for your guests because, as you said, you get to know the guests because they're repeat customers, they're with you probably daily, if not every second day, but they also genuinely appreciate what it is you're delivering for them to have that enjoyable experience. So there's a good sort of, I always found there's invested interest from both sides. Yeah, no, interesting. Excited to sort of see where this season takes you and where you develop and grow yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously, we will be working to give you a couple of different options as well and a couple of different clubs to look at for the year, and then see sort of what does Ryan Harbison do with the next 2 to 3 years while you're over working in the States.
Yep, absolutely.
Anything else you would share, or any other bits of advice or tips or tricks or insights before we say goodbye?
I think, if it is your first season and you don't know anything about the program or anyone who's been on the program, I think listening to people like myself as a returner, take on board what I'm saying because I've been through it. I feel like for yourself, like you're obviously promoting the program and stuff, but I think for me being out there, having lived it, done it all, trust me, I'm going back for my fifth, sixth season. So take on board what I'm saying. And it's not all plain sailing, I'm not saying that it's all going to be great, but at the same time, it's well worth it for your career and just for your personal self. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I've been there myself. So yeah, if you are people out there thinking about it, reach out to me on Instagram, whatever it is. I'm not afraid to answer any questions and always here to help people.
So keeping with the trend of these chats we've had this year. So in your opinion, in your expert opinion from a 5-year veteran of it, it's definitely worth spending a little bit of time doing a couple of video clips.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's the least of your worries. Trust me, it's well worth it.
So for anyone who's got through the application phase, you've already got the messages back from us. I definitely recommend you go ahead and complete those video clips. Interviews are starting next Monday, and we will very quickly have no positions or places left available. So don't sort of keep sitting there thinking, I'll get to it, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. Make it a bit of an urgency today, tomorrow. Get your video clips recorded and let us help secure you a place on one of those planes heading to Florida in October. And who knows, maybe you'll be asking Ryan all those questions over a pint of beer at the airport in October. Ryan, a pleasure having you on board. Great chatting with you and looking forward to seeing what club we will secure for you this season.
Yes, thanks, John. Appreciate it. Thanks
All
for your
right.
help.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.